Back in college, one of the classes I had to take for my digital media degree was for 3D environment design. It was called Creating 3D Worlds, if I remember correctly, and it was one of my favorite classes from that program, mainly because the work was fairly easy for me. It was fun getting to build imaginary spaces that I could walk around in and even interact with. I remember for my final project, I made an apartment with a vaporwave aesthetic. In the 6 years since I graduated college, I only managed to complete one single game project. It's not one I'm terribly proud of either. After that, I struggled to come up with an idea for a game that was interesting and unique, but also doable by a single person in a short amount of time. That got me stuck in a vicious cycle, where I kept coming up with all these ambitious ideas for games with tons of revolutionary mechanics and complex narratives, only to give up due to the excessive workload I'd just given myself. I'd get burnt out when I'd barely even started. I'm sure I could finish at least a few of those projects, and I probably will. Just none of the deadlines I was setting for myself. Someday, though. For now, I'm going as easy on myself as I can and getting back into 3D environment design. This isn't really a game that I'm working on, since it doesn't have any major mechanics or a plot to follow. I'm thinking of adding some kind of interactivity though, like buildings with interiors, a torch to carry around in dark areas, maybe even an NPC to talk to if I'm feeling up to the task. Honestly, even calling this a walking simulator doesn't really do it justice, and not just because of the bad connotations in that genre name. I liken it most to one of those Gary's Mod maps that has a lot of atmosphere and environmental storytelling. Just imagine if somebody played a bunch of those and then decided to make one of their own, but in a completely different engine as a standalone project. I'm that somebody. For this environment, I really wanted to do something that involved a giant skeleton. I've always loved it as a backdrop in movies and games, the rotting corpse of something so massive that it becomes a part of the landscape itself. It gives a similar vibe to things like shipwrecks and abandoned buildings. Of course, unlike a ship or a building, a dead body has the added touch of being organic and therefore just as much a part of the ecosystem that decomposes it. And that's kind of what I wanted to explore with this project. Not just the concept of a dead god, but a world where gods are a part of the ecosystem. It's a sort of dark fantasy vibe I'm going for, showing the aftermath of a deity being slain in battle and how the local environment reacts. It's an interesting angle where even the sapient fantasy races like humans, elves, and dwarves take on the role of a decomposer species. They strip apart the dead god down to its literal bare bones. As for a backstory on how this particular god died, I haven't quite figured everything out yet. I also don't want to reveal too much of the lore, since part of the map's appeal is figuring out what happened by paying attention to the details. All I know for now is that I wanted it to be that the god was killed in battle, hence why they have the sword and shield. Then there's the matter of the environment surrounding the skeleton. I wanted to make it very desolate, with lots of dead forests and abandoned structures to show that this place has been this way for a very long time. Namely, I think an old castle would fit nicely at the top of this mountain. It would also be really cool to see if unique new ecosystems would have formed underneath the shield. And most of all, I'd want to try and incorporate some kind of structure into the skeleton itself. Maybe a hanging city in its ribcage or a lookout platform inside of its skull. I'm not sure when this will be done, but I'll try to get a playable version out by this summer. Like I said, I'm trying to go easy on myself for this project, and that includes more lenient deadlines. In the meantime, I'm also going to be working on smaller videos to get more frequent uploads out. Mostly just little animations and memes to keep myself committed to this channel. And with all that said and done, I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.